Lucas Fabianski called up by Poland. Thomas Souček, Vladimir Koval called up by Czech Republic. No surprises really. Frederick Alves called up by Denmark as well. But could the West Ham player be called up by Gareth Southgate for the latest England squad? That's what we're here to discuss. Well, a Scotsman discussing the potential England squad. Ho ho ho! Controversial. Let's get into it. A report last week suggested Craig Dawson might be included in Gareth Southgate's next squad, and this week it's Jesse Lingard. I'm here to talk about both of them, and if you don't want to hear Scotsman talking about the England squad, this ain't the video for you, because that's exactly what I'm here to do. But I have an opinion. I've been watching them week in, week out. Now let's start with Craig Dawson, shall we? Last week it was reported that Gareth Southgate is being encouraged to call up Craig Dawson. First of all, I find that terminology really weird. Encouraged. Who's encouraging him? I know you always say, well, his coaches and assistants and stuff. But I think Gareth Southgate is perfectly aware of who Craig Dawson is and knows whether to select him or not. I guess when you name your squad, it's not just Southgate that picks the 23-man squad, is it? There'll be people in his ear and stuff. But I just thought it was a strange thing to do. He's been encouraged to call up Craig Dawson. Anyway, listen. He's had a fantastic... Let me get my disclaimer in now. He's had a fantastic season for West Ham. I didn't want him here. He's come in, he's smashed it. He's been ridiculously good. In about half his games for West Ham, we've kept a clean sheet. Unbelievable record, right? Now, this is possibly more controversial than a Scotsman speaking about the England squad. He shouldn't be called up. Does he deserve it? Probably. His performances probably indicate he does deserve it. But should he be? No. What's right isn't always what's best. Someone told me that years and years ago. What's right isn't always what's best. And I've always remembered it. Because maybe the right thing to do is to call him up for his form since getting into the West Ham team. But it's perhaps not the best thing for England. I don't think he's good enough. I don't think he's good enough for the England team. I think at West Ham, he's more than good enough for us. He's been brilliant for us, okay? Because what we ask of him is to head the ball, do the blocks, do the defensive actions of the game. And we don't ask too much of him when we're in possession of the ball. We don't really need anything from him. Just pass to a fullback, that's about it. But I think when you play for England, particularly with the World Cup qualifiers here, the Euros is perhaps a little bit different because he's up against better strikers every game. But the World Cup qualifiers, Albania, San Marino and Poland. Now Poland's a decent opposition, not as good as they used to be, but decent opposition. But the other two games, there's not going to be that much defensive actions to be done, okay? If England are putting in the low blocks and last-ditch tackling, then they've got bigger issues than Craig Dawson playing centre-back. The emphasis on the centre-backs in these two games in particular is almost going to be in possession, passing the ball. And it's not unusual to see Harry Maguire or Jordan Stones or that get the ball for England and dribble with it for 10 yards up the pitch to try and lure a midfielder in so that it creates a little bit of space for someone like Jordan Henderson or Declan Rice to then get the ball and move the game up. And I just don't think Craig Dawson's good enough in possession of the ball to play for England. That's it really. That's it. That's my opinion on the Craig Dawson call-up. But I think he's up against some really good... I think England have got some really good centre-backs. I think Maguire's had a good season. I think John Stones has been superb. I think Michael Keane's had a really good season. I think Collins has had a really good season. I prefer him to Tyrone Mings. Oh, is that another controversial? I don't think it is that controversial, to be fair. I think Mings, not Ings. It's my love for Danny Ings taking over. Tyrone Mings gets a lot of credit and a lot of sort of media spotlight in that, but I actually think Collins has a better centre back. We have a couple of Villa fans that watch these videos. I'm sure they'll let me know if I'm wrong, but I rate Collins higher than Mings this season, to be honest with you. And also Ben Godfrey of Everton. I know he's not been playing centre back, but he's a centre back by trade. I think he's been superb. I think he's been one of the most underrated players this season in Premier League. I think he's probably ahead of Craig Dawson as well. A lot of competition, and I just don't think he's good enough with the ball to play for it. Out of possession this season, he's been fantastic. But in possession, I think he's good enough. And when you play for England, it's slightly different to playing for West Ham. Just because you are one of the better teams in the world. It's as simple as that. However, the other player that is rumoured to maybe getting called up, which I could see happening, is Jesse Lingard. The Telegraph reported a couple of days ago, the Athletics reporting it today, that he's had conversations with Gareth Southgate, and there's a chance that he may be taken back into the England fold. Now Southgate obviously knows Jesse Lingard, and the thing I've always found with Gareth Southgate is he likes to trust these players. I think that's why when the England sort of fans have always had this debate about sort of Grealish over Mount, because Southgate always has this thing, whenever he gets asked about Grealish, he always mentions Mason Mount, which is sort of half understandable because they're playing like similar positions, and if Grealish was to come in, it's probably Mount that's going to miss out in some occasions. So it's understandable why he compares them both. But I think he trusts Mason Mount more than he appears to trust Jack Grealish. I think Southgate is one of those men that just... Similar to David Moyes, I guess. Once you've got his trust, he trusts you. But until you've got it, he can appear a bit cold, essentially. And that's why I think Ward Prowse will be okay getting in the England squad whenever there's an opportunity. He's got in it, early this season. I'd be surprised if he's not in it again, because Southgate had him for the under-23s, whatever tournament it was that England won with Southgate, under-21s, under-23s. I can't remember, right? But they've done well under Southgate. Ward Prowse was his captain for that tournament, so I think that's giving James, I think that's what gives Jesse Lingard an advantage. Perhaps doesn't give Craig Dawson one over other centre-backs, but with Jesse Lingard, he's got an opportunity here. Jack Grealish is injured, James Maddison is injured. There's an opportunity for an attacking midfielder to get in there. And since coming to West Ham, he's absolutely smashed it, Lingard, scoring goals, creating assists, creating chances. He's been pivotal to the way we play, but also working hard. He's not afraid to track back, he's not afraid to put the tackles in, very disciplined. I think he's ticking all the boxes for Gareth Southgate, Jesse Lingard. So I would not be surprised at all if tomorrow we find that he's called up to the England squad, and I think he would deserve it as well. Is he as good as Raheem Sterling or Jadon Sancho? No, probably not ability-wise, but it doesn't mean he's not the right fit for England. I think he is possibly that player. I think he would do well for him, and I think he deserves it. Also for West Ham, put my client blue specs on now. Not that I've not had them on for the video so far. I think it would be fantastic. I think it would be really good news for West Ham if Lingard gets into this team. Normally you get a little bit worried. I'm a little bit worried about Souček playing for Czech Republic, right? Because he's looked a little bit tired. He's now away play 3 games in the space of a week and stuff. It's the last thing we need Souček doing at the end of this month. But with Jesse Lingard, completely different. I think he needs the more reasons we can give Jesse Lingard to sign for West Ham this summer, which I think he will anyway, right? But getting back into that England squad like that would say to Jesse Lingard, you need to stay at West Ham. When you play for West Ham, you play like you're in the England team. That's it. You are in the England team. You got back to Man United, you probably won't play as much. You won't be in the England fold. So if you want to be in the England team, you've got to stay at West Ham. But it also gives Jesse encouragement. He'll know he's not guaranteed a spot at the Euros, okay? He will know that. He will know Maddison and Grealish is coming back soon, and they're probably ahead of him in the England pecking order so far. Like I said, there's an opportunity. Even Harvey Barnes. I don't know how Harvey Barnes' injury status. I'm aware he's injured at the minute, but I don't know if he's due back before the end of the season or something, right? But should he be, then Lingard's up against Harvey Barnes for a spot if there is one available. But he's now got an opportunity to go into the England team perhaps, and then come back to West Ham, and he's got to work. He's got to work hard. He's got to perform exceedingly well to get ahead of those players and get into that Euro Championship squad, because this England squad will give him encouragement. Do I think his head will drop if he's not in it? Not necessarily. Perhaps his England hopes might fade a little bit if he's not in the squad tomorrow. He might think, with those players injured, I just can't get in, so I'm not going to make that Euro squad. I think it would be an okay thing. I'd understand why he would think that. I would think that too. As a fan, I would think Lingard ain't getting in that Euro squad. I think he needs to be in it tomorrow, and I've just got a sneaky feeling he might be as well. I think, like I said, it's just because of the injuries. They've worked in his favour and his form at West Ham, and it's not the toughest of opponents, isn't it? I'm not saying Southgate's going to experiment, but if you want to take in 1 or 2 players to have a little look at, San Marino's not the worst game to do it in. 3 games in a week's tough. So even Southgate's going to have to rotate for one of those games. He's probably going to want his first 11 against Poland, San Marino and Albania. He might be able to rotate a couple of players here and there. And that's why, you look at the England 21 squad that come out, as strong as it is. There's no Jude Bellingham, there's no Reece James. We know they're in the senior squad. It's all but confirmed that they're in the England team. But while, like I said, I think Reece James deserves that spot, as does Jude Bellingham perhaps to an extent. But that shows that Southgate's maybe bringing in 1 or 2 players. Hudson-Odoi will probably be another one that he's going to bring in just to give a little chance to say, right, let's see what you got kind of thing, because you're in contention for my Euro squad. You go through that England squad, who's definitely in the Euro squad? There's some, but there's also a few spaces up for grabs. I don't think he's sold on Maddison and Grealish yet. I don't think he is, Southgate. I think he'd pick Mount over those 2. Even if all 3 of them are fully fit, I think he'd still pick Mason Mount. He's left Maddison out before, he's left Grealish out before. There's an opportunity here for Jesse Lingard, and I've just got a sneaky feeling he might be in that England squad, and that is fantastic news for West Ham going forward. Anyway, speaking of Euros, not the Euro Championship, the European football that West Ham are currently trying to get into. We've done a video on explaining how the qualification works. It's a short video, it's under 5 minutes. We do our best to explain it. It's a difficult thing to explain, if that makes sense. Probably not, but if you check it out, it's at the end of this video in just a second, and the link is in the description below. I've done the audio, Charlie's done the graphics. Looks really nice actually. Best looking video you see this year in Hammers Chat. So go have a look if you don't know how the Euro qualification works when you take into account the FA Cup, the Carabao Cup, the European Cups as well. Anyway, drop a like on this video if you enjoyed it. Probably not a Scotsman talking about the England squad. I don't care. I watch a lot of Premier League football, and I watch a lot of England games, to be fair. And it's research for the Euro Championships, isn't it? When you come up across the mighty Che Adams playing up front for Scotland now, eh? I bet you're worried about him. He'd give Craig Dawson a bit of trouble if you called him up. Anyway, I'm just gonna disappear now. Subscribe to the channel, drop a like on it, and I'll see you tomorrow on both channels. I've got 2 videos going up tomorrow. I'll see you on both channels. Catch you in a bit.